I'm delighted. And on that website, which is www.cornish-herbs.com, and there's information up here which you can take away that one, you can see what we're about and where we are. And also, it'll be talking on there about some of the workshops that I'm doing. So I've got workshops in the autumn, including some of what you've had tonight, also about the one in November about making the tinctures, have a go. We'll do decoctions, we'll do infusions and teas, talk on a broader scale than now to get you to actually do it, which I'm quite keen on. And also one at the end of November, as a result of my first series of workshops, there's a lady came up to me and said, because I used dowsing or the pendulum to get certain information. This lady said, no, I've now just seen a pendulum, don't you? So they wanted a dowsing workshop. So at the end of November, I'll be doing dowsing, and which will cover pendulums and rods, and I'll share with you how to detect water, which is the key one that we use, but also how to work through lists of things. Has anybody here found themselves with no particular appointments that day, but a list of 10 or 20 things to do, and you don't know which one to, don't know where to go next, and you get to 3 o'clock and you think, I haven't done any one particularly well, so I thought about it. Well, what I have is I teach you how to take your list of what you've got to do and find your priority things. Now, since I've been doing that, what I found is a couple of things. One, when I've got my priority thing, I don't care whatever else it is, everything else is out of my mind. And I'm just focused. So that task now gets done at a better quality of work than it would have done in the past. Also, I found when I'm making my lists of things now, somewhere up here, something's going on where I'm more or less listing them out in priority order anyway. So some thought process has changed somewhere really. So that's a good thing for you. The other thing is I'll be covering electromagnetic fields. What's he talking about? We are all, we are all surrounded by electromagnetic fields. Can I have a volunteer, sir? Thank you. The electromagnetic fields point, if you like. Now, what's happened is his circuitry at some stage in his life, because he works and lives in a house with a ring main and will go near electricity, his natural circuitry, his own electrics in his own body, is blown. If I went around the room, most of you would be. Okay? But I'll show you how to detect it in your own house, because the last thing you want, I've had people come to me, they come to me, they go through things, they go away, initially I've worked on them in the clinic, they go away, and then they gradually deteriorate, and they come back to me, work on clinic, good, go away, deteriorate. At home, and I remember going to Salisbury, last time I worked up with the last patient couldn't get to me before 12, so I had to go to her house 12:30 when she was in, and when I got to the house I realised that's what needed treating. There wasn't much wrong with her, but the house was a real mess. It had something called geopathic stress, which was an energy of black energy. He's got his energy again. You can't see it, but I could detect it with the dowsing rods. Okay? And when I put my pendulum in the area where it was, the pendulum just went doolally. Okay? Then I fixed it, and when I fixed it in the house, all the hair on the back of on my back, and quite hairy, just went up as if a ghost had walked through. And the same, and the lady felt the same. She wasn't quite hairy as me, but she felt that, that tingle when you get. I unfixed it, and it all came back in again. So we fixed it and left it there, and she's happy with her stuff now. But it was the house that was getting to her. Now it was a fairly modern row of houses, surrounded by older properties that had been built many years ago. Land prices went up, it eventually got sold for housing. But there was a story in every house in that terrace, people in their 30s and 40s with MS, with having strokes and having heart attacks, all the things we shouldn't have been having. So it is an important thing in our life. So dowsing can help you, when you've mastered it, to be able to check those things out for yourself. And if you find you can't fix it, but there's something there, then I can come and fix it for you. But it's worth bearing in mind. All over the planet, at 2 metre intervals, there are different lines which have been discovered, Curry lines and Hartmann lines. You run different ways, and if you get 2 or 3 of those in one spot, and that's where you're sleeping, that's what you can wake up feeling more tired than you were before you went to bed. And I know people that So the workshops, there's a bit of information there about those. Also, I've had a lot of inquiries because when I first said I was going to do this herb garden, I'm nearly there, Teresa. Most men thought I was around the bend. All the ladies said, "Oh, isn't that lovely? Oh, that's so lovely, herb garden. Why don't you come and see it?" Right. And I realised what's happened. In biting the bullet and letting go of a regular salary and accommodation and selling my home to finance it and letting go of all the things that we all strive for in our fear, other people have observed that I'm doing what they'd like to do, but they haven't done it for whatever reason, because they don't want to let go of the nice things in life, I should imagine. So they've been incredibly supportive in other ways. Some people come along and say, "I want to do it, but I haven't got my own site, but can I help you do what you're doing?" So that's great, particularly when some of them are retired engineers from Carrick Council where I used to work, so they've been very helpful. But other ladies that have come along, and we're going to have a little Friends of the Herb Garden, which will enable you to come along and do a bit, and then you will learn by doing, if that makes sense. But you'll also, if we're doing events, you'll become a priority person if you remember the Herb Garden rather than just the riff-raff of the common public. Okay? And they might be able to do some deals on workshops and things for costs and things, for the costing. So that's what we're looking to do. Other people, a lovely lady, she's a distant relative, I've hardly ever met her. She came down to Cornwall to see my dad, and she wanted to go and see the herb garden. I took her down there. Now she's very deaf. She wanted me to look her straight in the face, so she picked up every word that I said. And I remember at one point saying to her, for the next last phase to finish before I do the buildings, I just need $2,000. Not expecting income, but I just need $2,000 to finish off. Had a lovely letter, not going to say nothing, with a cheque in it. "Simon, I really wish you all the best with your herb garden. I think you said you wanted £200 to finish off." But it's a start. Okay? So if you want to contribute in any way at all, I'm not asking to put money in necessarily, but there are people who said that they want to put some money forward. If you know of anybody who's of a business nature, you may have observed with the cash crunch, credit crunch thing, I'm not sure where I am, but the 2 buildings I've got, I want to go up. There's up to 50% granting on both of them, grant funding on both of them. And if you know anybody who might be wanting to look that way, I don't need money to be given. A loan would be great. Don't want to make a loan. It's just you can't borrow any money at the moment, and I need to keep things progressive. So if you know any multi-millionaires, okay, who might be that way, that's fine. That's you from them. Any questions?